Welcome back. You're watching Storyboard. Come next week, and the battle for the media rights of one of the biggest sporting events and the most valuable media properties is going to intensify with IPL media right tender coming out. And today, I'm speaking to Navin Khemka, CEO South Asia MediaComm, about the IPL excitement amongst the advertisers, the big battle for the IPL media rights, and the current media trends as we unlock. Navin, welcome to Storyboard. So good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Ankita. Always good to be back with you.
Um, Naveen, the IPL season has just begun. IPL is back to India after 2 years of COVID. People can finally enter the stadium with 25% crowd capacity. What is the kind of advertiser interest that's coming in, with extra ad inventory? There are going to be 74 matches instead of 60, with the addition of 2 new teams. There is already news that the ad sales for Star is set to cross the 4,000 crore mark this year. The ad sales were at least 10% higher. Could you weigh in on the advertiser excitement and the interest that's coming in for Star?
Ideally, what we should do is analyze IPL from two aspects, from the on-ground aspect and from the on-air aspect. From an on-ground perspective, I would first say that we have a new title sponsor on board, and all the other slots on-ground slots for the first time on IPL, I would say, are completely sold out. Brands want to associate with this property and are investing in this property for the long term as we expect the normalcy to return finally. The only thing I would say we would miss on ground is actually I would say the local buzz or the local activation opportunities that you could create in various cities due to the restricted venues that are still in place. Now let's go into the on-air perspective again. Again, I would say this year the response on on-air has been phenomenal across both television and digital. The higher number of matches has meant, obviously, as you rightfully said, higher secondage, higher number of impressions, but we're also seeing a host of new advertisers and categories coming into IPL. As the reach of, I would say, as the reach of IPL keeps growing every year, the price premium, while there is a bit of a price premium, is also, I would say, somewhat justified. So in a nutshell, I would say IPL 2022 is a great opportunity to kickstart some sectors that were deeply impacted due to the pandemic, especially the travel sector, the hospitality sector, the summer category brands. What I would say, this is the first normal summer quarter, the first normal April, May, June, and we all remember the turmoil that happened in the last 2 summer seasons, right? The first normal summer quarter that we will see in the last 3 years. And as the economy, I would say, really opens up, it also opens up great opportunities for brands to come back to normal and back to growth, I would say.
Right, Naveen. Speaking about the IPL, the other big news around the IPL is the media rights tender that's coming out next week. Now, the industry is rife with estimates of 35,000 crores that the IPL auction is going to fetch, expecting the bids to spiral to 50,000 crores. Now, do you see this figure as being unrealistic? Because Star acquired the rights at 16,347.5 crores, and whether it was able to recover their ad spends is hugely debatable. It did help them build their digital platform Disney Plus Hotstar. So is such a high valuation unrealistic, or do you think it justifies the mega sporting event that IPL has become?
Yeah, lot of chatter, lot of interest, lot of buzz around this upcoming media right auction, I would say. And I genuinely feel, I think it's about being able to unlock the real value of this property, and really for each of the bidders to be able to evaluate the property their own way. The cost of entry, and let's look at the cost of entry into the next 5 years of IPL, will need to be apportioned into various heads, and this will really depend on the bidder and their appetite for the investments. So, I mean, there could be various ways in which they could evaluate this, right? For some of the bidders, this could be the huge opportunity, I would say, on scaling up distribution, on scaling up advertising revenues, on scaling up top line. For others, it could also be, I would say, like the cost of entry into this massive Indian media market, which is also one of the largest and not largest, I would say, one of the fastest growing media markets in the world, and obviously in the top 10 now. And for some, it could also be the access to some of the biggest brands and advertisers and agencies in the country. I mean, it's an easy access, right? The moment you get IPL right, suddenly the world of opportunities open for your team, your sales team. There's so much more that you can do. So I would say if your end goal is clear, justifying the cost that you have bid for the property should not be very difficult. It is also not like a very simple profit and loss statement. I would say it's a much more strategic intent on the way you make your bid. maybe a short-term difficulties, but long-term benefit. It's more like, and startup is a big buzzword nowadays, right? It's more like you being thinking like a startup, wanting to make your mark with the next big idea. So I would say the upcoming bid would be a great opportunity for the multiple media houses to get into IPL and really unlock its true potential. Really, I genuinely feel that actually.
Right. Naveen, what do you mean by unlocking the real potential of IPL?
Yeah, so I would say currently IPL, the way IPL is monetized and the way IPL is monetized is almost like a pan national buy, right? However, if people were to want to unlock its value, then one has to really work harder. One has to create a lot of new options and new formats to be able to use IPL more widely as a local media option and not only as a national buy. This could make what this will do is this could make the IPL entry level costs manageable, and also what you could see an exponential growth in the number of brands on IPL. So if you look at the earlier broadcasters, if you look at Sony or if you look at Star, each one of them has done something fantastic for the IPL. The first one established the property. The second broadcaster actually made sure it reached out to every corner of the country. Maybe the third leg of IPL, which is the third leg going to start now, could be for somebody to unlock its real value by really being able to localize, by being able to have more and more advertisers coming in, by being able to give options that are much beyond like a national option. And this could also call for a lot of investments in terms of the inventory management, in terms of the way you sell, in terms of the way you break the feeds, in terms of the way you monetize it. Yes, there's a lot of hard work involved, but I think this can be done.
Right. Naveen, also there's news that BCCI is going to unbundle the media rights this time, meaning they'll sell digital and TV rights separately. Now, what does this mean for the industry? Could you see consortiums forming in case one broadcaster is unable to retain both television and digital rights?
If you look at the last bid, Star was the highest bidder collectively. It was actually, I think it was Facebook, which was the largest bidder on digital, and they didn't get it because collectively Star was the higher bidder. So this year again, I would say depending on the strategic priorities for the digital platforms and the big 3 or 4 television networks, it will be an aggressive bid. And the best of IPL is yet to come as the quality of matches in the next 4 to 5 years get better as the teams get better and mature with great talent. So again, I would say this could ensure that the real value of IPL is unlocked for the next 3 to 5 years, and reasons that we've already discussed in the earlier question.
Now, Naveen, we are moving towards the pre-pandemic times. The country has unlocked and cinemas are working at 100% capacity with 2 big ticket releases. How kicked are brands about this? Till now, they have been advertising, keeping in mind the COVID situation. Do you see a shift in the marketing plan or the ad budgets towards the mediums that have been off limits till now due to COVID? As we go back to our normal lives, what are the current trends?
Yeah, Ankita. So yeah, I would say currently it's almost the real growth in our industry, the advertising industry. In last 2 years, obviously, because of the decline in the spends of advertising, we were playing a catch-up game. But the real growth is actually going to come this year. And the only media during COVID that was off limits was actually cinema, as most theaters were closed, and outdoor, as the mobility was greatly reduced due to the lockdowns. Now, both these bottlenecks are passé, and we are seeing 100% theaters open up, and mobility data is also back to pre-COVID levels. Given the situation right now on ground, I would say most brands are back also on these mediums. They have been a bit cautious, I would say, in the first quarter of 2022, but starting March, we are seeing near normalcy return for both these media. Just to give you some numbers, outdoor, we are expecting outdoor to become almost 80-85% of pre-COVID levels in the month of March. Cinema in the month of March could be the biggest month in the history of cinema now, with the Kashmir Files doing so well at the box office. And obviously RRR, which is slated to release, I think today or tomorrow, is expected to release around 4,000 to 5,000 screens across the country in various languages. And whatever I'm getting to know from my cinema team is that the first weekend is completely sold out. So yeah, it's almost like signs of normalcy returning.
All right, Naveen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Ankita. Always a pleasure.
With that, it's a wrap on Storyboard for this week, but you can catch all of our content on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time next week. See you soon.